Hi, my name is Sashank, only from Bottleneck Growth. I'm going to talk about today how a Series B company moved through Series C and what is the bottleneck here and how you can tackle it. So, in the Series A, what happens actually, we are looking for a go-to marketing strategy. So, we are looking for a process where we can get customer as sustainable basis. But in the Series B, what happens? We have the acquisition system on the line, but the retention team is actually struggling. The part of retention is so low that it doesn't go forward. And how it works, let me show you step by step. So, in the second step, where your growth comes from changes. So in Series B, an acquisition machine growth comes from binning new logos. Whole org is tuned to acquire. The rational side quietly still leaks. In the Series C, where you must go, a durable retention-led business, growth comes increasingly from existing ways. Expansion, NRR, and the revenue engine is leak-proof and valued like a near public company. That's why the leak is the retention here. And I'm going to show you what is the major part of having less retention or the more churn options, which is, let me describe it. So in acquisition model become retention led, and what is matter actually? NRR. So in the Series A, the matter thing is ARR, which is annual recurring revenue, but here we are looking for net recurring revenue, which is actually automatically focused on the reducing churn rate and rule of 14 in expansion. Let me show you in the next slide how it works. So involuntary churn. This is the major part of Series B problem, and this is the major leak here. And why it happens? It happens because of the failure payment. And failure payment happens because of the expired card. This is the major 42 of the failure, like 42% is a failure expired because of the expired card. This is the major thing of the churn here. But we see the churn as a total churn because of other reasons. We never look into this payment structure, what's going on. So this is why we need to look at the numbers. Every failed payment is a permanent NRR drag. So every failed payment leads to a churn, and which churn actually leads to a NRR drag. Cheapest NRR. So you are keeping customer who never wanted to leave, no acquisition cost. So customer is leaving just because they couldn't get notification of expire card and they got churned. We can easily add them to a NRR just by having a system for retention. And how it moves the multiplier and singular durability. A leak-proof revenue engine is the maturity later stage investors pays a premium for. Now, this isn't a back office hygiene, it's a direct lift to the NRR evaluation is built on. A system, not a retry setting. So generally we have a basic dunning system, we have a normal retrying logic, not based on the type of decline, we just do it. But the proper way of doing it, how we can recover that 80 to 90% failed payment, the people who is gonna churn, is just by having an intelligent dunning system. It solely works 80-90% of recovery. Decline intelligence and network tokens rather than using a card, using a network tokens and measured in NRR points. So this is how we understand how these three metrics convert to a NRR points. Now this is 20 minutes, your churn number and what recovery NRR point. So if this is something that you want to see on a calculator, let me show you how it looks like and how it impacts your metrics that you actually care about. Let's take your current ARR is 18,000K and failed payment rate is 8%, and your recovery rate as per the system right now 35%, but the top performer has the 80% recovery rate of the failure payment, which is because of the system, and the current NRR is 108. So what happens? Revenue at risk 120K every month. After recovery, we can easily recover this amount just by installing that failed payment recovery system. And recovered every month 96,000, lost 24. This is how you are losing 24 customers every year just because of the failed payment. That's why it is so important. So how it changes to your metrics? The NRR before is 108. Just by implementing failed payment recovery, it goes to 111.6. It's a major difference. And churn goes from 5.2% reduced to 1.6%. And recovered ARR is 648K just by optimizing the system. So this is something that we have a specific system that actually is gonna follow this whole calculator rules and gonna give you around 80% recovery. This is something you wanna be interested in, or at least you know how you can move through series B to C and what is the major bottleneck here. I can show you on a call how what is the actually recovery rate you got and how much you can increase your NRR and reduce the churn rate. And I will drop my Calendly link as well. If this is something that's gonna help you, let me know. We can talk again. Thank you.